Hello everybody, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast and welcome to another League One roundup. What a set of League One games we have just witnessed this weekend. You can probably tell by the voice, it was a fantastic result for Oxford United hosting Sheffield Wednesday. We did a double over Sheffield Wednesday, a really huge and significant victory for Oxford. And you can check the match reaction out for that game. I've just finished recording that one. And you can check that out on the channel as well. It's always on the channel. It was a live episode, but you can check that out now and hear what I've got to say at full time of what was a really fantastic game. 3-2, last minute header. Absolute scenes. Anyway, we're going to talk about the other games in League One today. Not all of them. I've pinpointed 4 games. I could have pinpointed all of them, but we haven't got time for all of them. We've got to pinpoint 4 games. Some really interesting games to get into as well. Some significant results in some really good big games. And really looking forward to tactically break them down, highlight some really interesting aspects of the games, maybe some key men of those games as well. Of course, how did your team get on this weekend? I want to hear from you in the comments down below. Give me your thoughts on your team's weekend's results. Are you happy? Are you unhappy? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll be replying to all of them as per usual. If you haven't already subscribed, be part of the journey. We're on the road to 700 subscribers, people. Please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell as well, because that way you'll never miss an episode of the podcast. Hit that like button as well, because that really does help me out. Right, let's get straight into it. We haven't got time to mess around. Let's get into the first game. We're going to start off going to Plymouth Argyle as they played against Lincoln City. What a game this was going to be. Lincoln City, of course, have added to their squad. You can check out another video I did yesterday. As of when you're recording this, it will be yesterday when you're watching this. Who is currently winning the January transfer window? Of course, it hasn't finished yet, but teams are doing business in this winter window. Lincoln City are one of those. They've been doing a fantastic job. And when I was predicting these games as well, I definitely did take into consideration that Lincoln City and Micheal Appleton have been doing the business in the market. And Morgan Whittaker started today, a new signing, and John Marquis started as well up front for Lincoln City, and he got a goal as well. So those signings are already paying off. For Plymouth, they started the season fantastically well, but unfortunately they lost their manager, Ryan Lowe, to Preston North End, and they are seeing a now slight drop-off in that performance. And in results, you have to say as well. They are slowly slipping. I believe they slip outside the playoffs, into 7th now, after today's disappointing results to Lincoln City. But you can see, I like to go to the momentum graph. It's always a nice place to start, and you get a real good feeling of how the game went. Generally, it doesn't look like Plymouth were that bad. I mean, that second half, Plymouth, straight after half-time, it did look all Lincoln. But you can see there, Plymouth, in that second half, you can see they dominated the game. They had some really good attacking momentum. They had some real spikes in that second half. Quite dominant patch of attacking play in that second half. So it doesn't suggest to me it was all doom and gloom for Plymouth. You can see, though, not really. You can see that in the last minute of the game, it was a late winner in injury time that won it for Lincoln City. They will be really disappointed with it. Plymouth will be heartbroken that they can lose the game in the last minute. You can see that, interestingly, when the goal came, both goals really came from Lincoln City when they didn't have the biggest spikes at all. But you can see that Plymouth, they probably did dominate the game. It probably does suggest that in the attacking sense, they dominated the game. And Plymouth will come away really quite frustrated. They couldn't make the most of more moments in it. We'll come to the stats as well. You can see there, Plymouth dominated possession as well. They had the same amount of shots. They had more on target. In terms of big chances, though, you can see Lincoln City did have more big chances. So it's a strange one, really. You can see there they had, I guess, a more dominant patch, Plymouth, when it comes to attacking momentum. But in terms of big chances, you can see there that Lincoln City did have more of them. But their goals didn't come when they had their big chances. You can see there their first goal came straight after half-time. A real response after being 1-0 down at half-time. They had a big spot. They had a fairly big spot there and got the goal. But that second goal especially, that winner, didn't come from a massive spike at all. You can see that they did get that goal. But a player I want to highlight out straight away is the centre-back for Lincoln City, Max Melbourne. Got a goal in the game, but also a fantastic average rating of 8 out of 10. A SofaScore 8 out of 10 rating. Really impressive him. 3 clearances, 1 block shots, 1 interceptions, 2 tackles in the game as well. 1 clearance off the line. He had a fantastic defensive performance, but also helped out the team fantastically with a goal. A fantastic result for Lincoln City, who now look like, again, after a disappointing result in midweek, They can now climb up the table once again into 16th now. And again, those new players are slowly gelling, slowly coming together. There could be a few more in the way in for Lincoln City, but really, really happy. And Micheal Appleton will be over the moon with that result. For Plymouth, it's not ideal to lose at home. But again, we've lost to Lincoln City as Oxford United this season. We know what Lincoln can do. If they're in really good form that they are now, looking like they're a really good side. And they always will be under a good side under Micheal Appleton. They had a pretty poor first half of the season, it must be said. But they really do pose a lot of threat. You do have to watch out for Lincoln City. But yeah, Plymouth will be a little bit disappointed because they had moments in the game, but Lincoln City scored in the last minute, and you can see they had big chances. To be fair, it suggests they sort of do deserve to win the game. And that's the game there. Plymouth Argyle lose to Lincoln City by 1-2. Right, let's move on to the next game. And like I said, it's so difficult to pinpoint the 4 games. But another game I want to talk about. I'm not going to talk about Oxford United versus Sheffield Wednesday, just to let you know, because of course I've done a dedicated match reaction for that. I don't think I need to talk about it again. But next game I want to talk about is this one. Wigan against Gillingham. I expected Gillingham, to be quite honest with you, I expected Wigan, to wipe Gillingham completely off the park because they haven't got a manager, Gillingham, and they are really not in a good place at all. You can see here, Wigan did do that, but not in the scoreline. The scoreline I don't think reflects exactly how the game went. You can see here that first half was absolutely all Wigan. 2-0 up at half-time, cruising, comfortable, no fear in the world. Wigan was so dominant in that first half. Didn't really give Gillingham a sniff at all. But in the second half, you can see Gillingham coming back into the game. And really, when they had their moments, you could say they were really quite clinical. You can see there, they had about 5 spikes across the game and 2 spikes in there. Got them back to 2-2. And really there, Wigan are thinking, what on earth is going on? Gillingham are over the moon because that first half, they looked dead and buried. They got it back to 2-2. And unfortunately for them, Wigan did probably what you suggest, got their much deserved winner. You can see there in terms of possession. We know under Steve Evans, although he's not here anymore at Gillingham. You can see, though, they don't tend to have a lot of the ball. They don't tend to be a side that keep hold and have a lot of possession. You can see that it very, very clearly sort of suggests it there. 61% possession to Wigan, 39 to Gillingham. It's not the way they like to play. 15 shots to Wigan, 7 to Gillingham. But those big chances there, 4 big chances for Wigan in the game. No big chances for Gillingham, and they scored 2 goals. That suggests to me they were clinical when they had their half chances. Wigan will be disappointed, really. They let Wigan in quite easily because at so many moments in the game, it looked to be absolutely all Wigan. However, I don't think they'll be too frustrated now, to be quite honest with you. They got the win. They got the really, really important victory, Wigan. And for Gillingham, you can feel for them a little bit because they had a slight sort of spark of hope, but it wasn't to be. And overall, you can't really say they deserved more than a defeat. Maybe getting back to 2-2, they could get something from it. But look, they really, really, really struggled in the game generally, and to get back to 2-2, it did it does look like a little bit of a smash and grab. It wasn't to be, and Wigan went on to win the game, no problem at all. A few things I want to highlight last before we move on to the next game here. This lad here, Gwen Edwards, looked to have a really, really good game. You can see the average ratings, 2 assists in the game, a real creative spark, Edwards, for Wigan in this game. Only played 67 minutes, but has got 2 assists as well. A really good accurate pass of 76% possession, and looks really, really good. He's a player to watch out for and looks really, really good in this game. But Wigan, a slight concern at one point, but don't worry, Wigan fans, you did get the win. For Gillingham, a little bit cruel, really. They thought they could get something from it, but Wigan got probably what they deserved. It finished Wigan 3, Gillingham 2. So, let's move on to the next game, then the penultimate game we're going to discuss here. Again, like I said, like I keep saying, every time I wait for this screen, I'm thinking, what game could we go to next? Because there were some fantastic games this weekend. But I think we've got to go to probably the biggest game on paper of the weekend. Sunderland at the Stadium of Light hosting Portsmouth. This was also going to be a really quite fascinating game. And I predict this one to probably be the biggest game. I think I predicted a draw for this game. You can see here who got the goal, Elliot Embleton. But I want to talk about here the very, very interesting, I always do, attacking momentum graph. You can see here in that first half, up to, you'd probably say that about the 35th minute, it was absolutely all Portsmouth, and that makes it really quite interesting. Sunderland didn't really get off the blocks very, very quickly. They're quite slow getting out of the blocks, and Portsmouth started this first half really, really well. But before half-time, Sunderland had a few spikes in terms of attack. They got the goal. They won the game. They were winning going into the game 1-0, and in the end, of course, they did win the game 1-0. But you can see them going into half-time, the all-important goal before half-time, and you see the big spike before half-time got them that goal. But you can see, really, it was all Portsmouth in that first half, and there will be a sense of frustration within that Portsmouth camp, I imagine. They couldn't make the most of that really big spike in chance for the first sort of 30 minutes of the game. The second half, I think they really sort of continue where they left off, Sunderland, you can see there. A really, really good start to the second half, on to probably the last 10 minutes of the game. Absolutely all Sunderland. Didn't allow Portsmouth into the game really until the last few minutes, where Portsmouth had a few desperate last attacks to try and get something from the game. But you can see there, Sunderland slow out the blocks, but really when they got going and got their goal, they were really, really good at taking that momentum into the second half. In terms of looking at the statistics, Portsmouth, interestingly, had more of the possession. They had more shots. They had more shots off target, though, and you can see there 8 shots for Sunderland and 4 on target. So more shots on target, Sunderland. Slightly more clinical in terms of creating shots on target, whereas Portsmouth are a little bit less clinical in terms of trying to test the goalkeeper. In terms of big chances created, Sunderland did have one. Portsmouth had none. It didn't look like an absolutely brilliant game. It wasn't exactly a thriller from what we expected from a really, really good, really, really interesting game with 2 fantastic sides this season. But ultimately, it finished 1-0, and Sunderland will come away, really, really, really happy with it. An important game, an important win. Sunderland, I don't think, embarrassed themselves at all. They will be a little bit disappointed, though. There will be a sense of disappointment in that. They are now in 10th, and now have got to climb their way up. Now 8 points away from 6th spot. They have been good this season. They have shown a sense of improvement, but today they will be a little bit disappointed as their search for a win continues. The last 4 games, they haven't got that. Sunderland, though, weren't in the best form going into this game. Very, very similar to Portsmouth. But they do get their win, and they're going to be really, really happy with it. It finishes at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 1, Portsmouth 0. So, the final game I want to talk about then, it's been quite a quick roundup. I don't want to talk about every single game because it gets a little bit boring. I could talk about Ipswich, a really good result. We will touch on Ipswich, a really, really good result for them, beating Accrington. Saying they need to get a response. It was going to be interesting to see, could Kieran McKenna get a response? His first response he would have needed, really, from his Ipswich players after coming in and not losing a game before last week. He was able to do that. They got beaten by Bolton by 2-0 last week. They went to Accrington Stanley. It was going to be a really, really difficult game, and not an easy game to get a response from, and also they went 1-0 down, but Wes Burns got to make it back 1-1, and then Connor Chaplin made it 2-1. So Ipswich did get a redemption after last weekend's really disappointing defeat at the University of Bolton Stadium, where they lost 2-0. But could Kieran McKenna get an answer? Could Kieran McKenna get his first response as Ipswich Town first team manager? The answer is yes. They beat Accrington Stanley 2-1. I do want to talk about this game, though. Morecambe against Wycombe. We spoke about Wycombe last time. Oxford United played Wycombe in their last game, and they looked absolutely brilliant. We didn't look like we would have scored. We could still be playing now. I don't think we would have scored. Morecambe have fired 3 past them, and Wycombe have lost. This is how crazy League One can be. This is how unpredictable League One is and has been this season. We don't want to highlight everything. What's going on? You can see Morecambe in this game. It was really quite tight, though. Morecambe had some really good spikes. Wycombe had their moments. It looked really, really even. Looking at that attacking momentum graph, it's quite a fascinating attacking momentum graph. You can see there, both sides having moments in the game. Both sides having moments to attack in the game and having their moments of dominance. When we look at those, look at the stats, and that's the best place to start. We do look at attacking momentum first, but that's really difficult to break down. When we look at the stats, 51% possession to Morecambe in the game, dominating Wycombe possession. They don't normally have possession or dominate possession, Wycombe Wanderers. They are really, really good when in terms of off the ball and out of possession. They're really well organised. But conceding 3 goals today, really not like them. Like I said, Oxford United could still be trying now. I don't think we would have scored. Wycombe looks so well organised. As well, Adebayo Akinfenwa got their first goal. And that's something I would say, and credit to Morecambe once again. Going 1-0 down. Going 1-0 down against Wycombe is not easy at all, and to go and get something from it. When you go 1-0 down against Wycombe, that's the worst thing that can happen. You do not want to go behind against Wycombe because they will absolutely pester you and make it so difficult for you to get back into the game and equalise. They'll be so well organised, so well structured, so well, I guess, organising what they try and do to try and get back into a game after going 1-0 down against such a side like Wycombe is so difficult. Oxford couldn't do it. Morecambe could do it today. Anthony O'Connor scored in the 39th minute. Really quick start for Wycombe after scoring after 2 minutes, but straight a response there from Morecambe, making it 1-1. Then Wycombe go back in front, and again, what is Morecambe's response? How are they going to come back from that? Well, they go and score 2 goals, and then of course the winner from Cole Stockton in the 67th minute. Fair play to Morecambe, coming from behind twice against such an interesting Wycombe side. That's the best way to describe it. They're such an interesting side. It didn't look like they were going to concede. They could still be playing now, like I said 3 times already last week. But today, to concede 3 goals, so unlike Wycombe. They'll be frustrated by that. Conceding 3 goals against such a well-organised Wycombe side for Morecambe, they deserve so much credit for it. Again, going back to that momentum graph, now we've broken down the statistics. You can see there, Wycombe, they had 2 big spikes in the game, but generally other than that, they weren't brilliant, really. They didn't have any amazing attacks in the game. Morecambe had a patch here around the 60th minute. So dominant, causing problems for Wycombe. And you can see there they're going to be really happy with it because they had moments in the game. And fair play to them. They looked really good at those moments as well. And for Morecambe, that's such an important win. It's such a significant win. They're still in the relegation zone. They're still in the relegation battle. But those points are huge. Look at that now. Only 1 point away from 19th and 20th. They can easily get themselves now out of this relegation situation. It was not easy today. They certainly had their backs against the wall. It was going to be a really difficult game to get anything from. They did it though. They got free. They won the game 3-2. They got the 3 points, and they'll be absolutely delighted with that. Wycombe though, not happy at all, as you can imagine. That's the last game we're going to break down in as much detail. I want to touch on the other games as well. I think it's fair we touch on all the other games and I give my thoughts on those. Rotherham versus Cheltenham. Rotherham continue winning games. You can see they're very dominant in the game. Cheltenham, really until the end of the game, they gave something. But other than that, it was all Rotherham. And they won the game 1-0. They probably could have won the game a little bit more looking at that attack momentum graph. But a really good result for Morecambe. For Morecambe, we've discussed that. For now, Rotherham. And you can see there, Rotherham, I believe where we go to the league table, there it is. 3rd in the league. Really happy they will with that result. We've already spoken about Wigan, but I want to talk about Oxford United really briefly. Other than that, I think we then touched, everything. No, we still got to go to Doncaster versus MK Dons versus Doncaster. We'll touch on this game, Oxford United. If you didn't check the match reaction out, definitely go and do that. Really happy with it. Again, Oxford United haven't been very good at coming from behind, but today we did that twice. So happy with it. Oxford United showed a lot of different aspects of performance today. Desire, fight, very much. You can see that attacking momentum graph, a little bit end-to-end, a little bit all over the shop at points, but we put everything in that and we deserved to get the win. Probably in the end, I think in terms of desire and fight, we definitely deserved to win it, and we did just that. Such an important win. Oxford United, after 2 really disappointing away trips, get back on track with a really good win. And finally, MK Dons, they lost a game today at home to Doncaster. They will not be happy with that at all. Of course, Doncaster find themselves in a serious relegation battle. I believe going into this game, they were bottom of the table. They are now not bottom of the table. They are now 23rd. A really important win for them today. They were, bottom of the table going into this game. But really today they showed that they showed a really good dominant. I don't know about dominant. We'll come on that in a minute. But definitely a really good result, and one they'll be certainly happy with. Let's try and bring it up on the screen. Here it is. They certainly weren't dominant at all. It was all MK Dons. But you can see there, it was a little bit of a smash and grab. Interesting when they got their goal just before half time. But you can see there, MK Dons, they had all the ball in terms of their attacking sense. Did they have all the ball in possession? Definitely. 75% possession. It definitely was a smash and grab win for Doncaster, and MK Dons will be really disappointed with it. They had 25 shots. They had 1 big chance each. They did miss a chance, though, MK Dons, in terms of big chances. 25% total chances. 75% ball possession for MK Dons. A lot into that attack momentum, but Doncaster got a goal when they needed to, and then went on and hung on in that second half to win the game. So fair play to Doncaster. Now they get themselves off of rock bottom. But ladies and gentlemen, that has been it. That has been some incredible games in League One. We're sort of going into depth in 4 of them and then also covering the other games as well. But yeah, what an exciting game. What an exciting set of League One fixtures we have witnessed today. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Jack. This has been the Young Fan Podcast. Take care, stay safe. Leave a like and subscribe on the road to 700 subscribers. Need more of that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell as well. That way you'll never miss an episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for the continued support. I've been Jack. This has been the Young Fan Podcast. Take care, stay safe. I'll see you all very, very soon. See you in a bit.